The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic and despair. I had been sitting in this plastic chair for 6 hours, my hands clasped so tightly together that my knuckles had turned white. My father was in surgery, his stomach being carved open to remove the cancer that was eating him alive from the inside. The doctors had said the operation had a good chance of success, if we could afford it. I had never asked Marcus for anything. Not in 3 years of marriage. I had been the perfect wife, the supportive partner, the woman who never complained, never demanded, never made waves. But this was different. This was my father's life. I found Marcus in his study, surrounded by the trappings of his success. The mahogany desk, the leather-bound books, the expensive art on the walls. He looked up when I entered, his expression distracted and impatient. "Marcus, I need to ask you something," I said, my voice trembling. "My father needs surgery. It costs $10,000. I know we have the money. Please, can we help him?" He didn't even hesitate. He shook his head, a firm, dismissive gesture. "Nora, you know the rule that we don't lend money to family, that we don't bail people out of their mistakes. Your father should have saved more. He should have been more responsible." "Marcus, he's dying," I said, my voice breaking. "It's not a mistake. It's a medical emergency. Please, just this once." He looked at me with cold, flat eyes. "If I make an exception for him, your whole family will come crawling. Your cousins, your aunts, your second cousins twice removed. They'll drain us dry. I'm protecting our future, Nora. You need to understand that." I fell to my knees. I begged. I pleaded. I told him I would pay him back, that I would do anything if he would just help my father. He didn't even look at me. He just turned back to his computer and said, "The answer is no." I walked out of his study. My heart shattered. I sold my mother's heirloom jewelry, the only thing she had left me when she died, and I paid for my father's surgery myself. I swallowed my anger, my pain, my humiliation, that I told myself that Marcus was right, that he was protecting our future, that he had a right to his boundaries. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Hashtag chapter 1. The rules that were never rules. Objective commentary. The observer's voice. My name is Eleanor Vance. I have been Nora Sterling's best friend for 20 years. I have watched her navigate the highs and lows of her life, her marriage to Marcus, her father's illness, the slow erosion of her spirit. I have also watched Marcus Sterling, and I have never liked him. He was a man of principles, but his principles always seemed to benefit him. He talked about boundaries, but his boundaries were always about controlling Nora. When Nora told me about the $10,000, I was furious that I told her to leave him, that I told her to fight back. But she was too beaten down, too desperate to keep the peace, too convinced that she was the problem. "Why won't you just leave him?" I asked her once, after a particularly bad fight. She shook her head. "He's not a bad man, Eleanor. He's just cautious. He's trying to protect us." "He's not protecting you," I said. "He's controlling you. There's a difference." She didn't listen. She never listened. When Vanessa came back to town, I knew she was trouble. She was Marcus's childhood friend, the kind of woman who had always been in the background, waiting for her moment. She was ambitious, charming, and utterly ruthless. She came to Marcus with a business proposal, a startup that she claimed was guaranteed to succeed. She needed $80,000 for seed funding. She assured him it was a safe investment, a sure thing. Marcus gave her the money without hesitation. He didn't ask for a business plan. He didn't ask for a timeline. He didn't even ask for a repayment schedule. I discovered the transfer by accident. I was reviewing our joint accounts, something Marcus had always discouraged me from doing. I saw the line item, and my blood ran cold. $80,000 transferred to Vanessa's account. The same man who had refused to give $10,000 to save my father's life had just handed over $80,000 to his childhood friend. When I confronted him, he didn't even try to hide it. He smiled, a smug, self-satisfied smile. "Vanessa is different, Nora. She's not family. She's a business partner. This is an investment. Your business partner, I repeated, my voice flat. You gave her 8 times what you refused to give my dying father. He sighed, the way he always did when he thought I was being irrational. Nora, you're being emotional. Your father's situation was different. IT was a personal emergency. This is a professional opportunity. You can't compare them. I'm not comparing them, I said, my voice shaking with barely suppressed rage. I'm asking you why my dying father was an outsider, but Vanessa is a business partner. I'm asking you why $10,000 for a life-saving surgery was a bad investment, but $80,000 for a risky startup is a sure thing. His smile faltered. For the first time, I saw a flicker of unease in his eyes. Nora, you're not being reasonable. Reasonable? I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. I've been reasonable for 3 years. I've been the perfect wife, the supportive partner, the woman who never made waves. And where has it gotten me? My father almost died because you wouldn't help me, and now you're throwing money at a woman who isn't even your wife. I walked to the drawer, pulled out our marriage certificate, and slapped it on the table. If she's your family, I said, then marry her. I'm done. Hashtag chapter 2, The Awakening. Objective commentary. The observer's voice. The divorce was a war. Marcus fought every step of the way. He hired the best lawyers money could buy. He tried to hide assets, falsify documents, and manipulate the court. He was determined to make Nora pay for the sin of walking away. But Nora was no longer the beaten-down wife I had known. She was different now. Stronger, harder, unbreakable. She hired a forensic accountant to trace Marcus's hidden accounts. She found evidence of the embezzlement, the fraud, the years of financial abuse. She took it all to her lawyers, and they built a case that would destroy Marcus's reputation. The trial was brutal. Marcus tried to paint Nora as a gold digger, a woman who had married him for his money and was now trying to take him for everything he had. But Nora had the receipts. She had the evidence, and she had the truth. The judge was unimpressed with Marcus's theatrics. He awarded Nora a substantial settlement, including a significant portion of their joint assets. He also ordered Marcus to pay for her legal fees. Marcus was furious. He was humiliated. He was defeated. But Nora didn't stop there. She took the evidence of Marcus's financial fraud to the authorities. He was investigated, charged, and convicted. His reputation was destroyed. His career was over. He was a cautionary tale, a symbol of hubris and greed. Objective commentary. The observer's voice. I sat across from Nora in her new apartment, watching her pour tea with steady hands. She was different now. The nervous, anxious woman I had known was gone. In her place was someone else, someone confident, someone calm, someone utterly in control. You did it, I said. You actually did it. She smiled. I didn't have a choice, Eleanor. He pushed me too far. He broke me, and I had to rebuild myself. Rebuilding is a good thing, I said. You're stronger now. You're better. She nodded. I know that I still have bad days, that I still think about everything I lost. But I also think about everything I gained. Did I gain my freedom? Did I gain my voice? Did I gain my dignity? And I will never let anyone take that away from me again. Hashtag chapter 3, The Reckoning. Objective commentary. The observer's voice. Vanessa's startup failed within a year. It was a spectacular disaster, a cautionary tale of ambition and hubris. She lost everything. The money, the reputation, the future she had been so sure of. Marcus was devastated. He had invested everything in her, and she had betrayed him, not with malice, but with incompetence. She hadn't been a villain. She had just been a dreamer who didn't understand reality. But Marcus didn't blame her. He blamed Nora. He blamed his wife for leaving him, for destroying his life, for taking everything he had built. He showed up at Nora's apartment one night, drunk and desperate. He was crying, begging, pleading for her to take him back. Nora, I'm sorry, he sobbed. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I should have helped your father. I should have listened to you. I should have been a better husband. Please, give me another chance. Nora looked at him, and I saw no pity in her eyes. No anger. No joy. Just a quiet, peaceful emptiness. Marcus, she said, you had years to be a better husband. Years to listen to me, to respect me, to love me. You chose not to. And now you have to live with the consequences of those choices. He fell to his knees. He started crying. He started begging. I don't need your apologies, Marcus, she said. I don't need your love. I have everything I need. I have myself. I have my future. And you have nothing but regret. She closed the door. He stayed on the ground, weeping for hours. Hashtag epilogue. The queen of her own story. Final objective commentary. The observer's voice. Nora Sterling's story is a reminder that rules are not always what they seem. Marcus had spent years hiding behind his principles, using them as a weapon to control, manipulate, and abuse. He had made Nora believe that she was the problem, that she was unreasonable, that she was asking for too much. But the truth was, the rules had never been about protecting their future. They had been about protecting his power. When Nora finally saw the truth, she didn't break. She fought. She fought for herself, for her father, for her future. And she won. She rebuilt her life, piece by piece. She started a business, became a philanthropist, and found a community of women who supported her. She also found love, real love, with a man who respected her, valued her, and cherished her. Marcus, on the other hand, became a cautionary tale. He lost everything: his wife, his money, his reputation, his future. He was a ghost of the man he had once been, wandering through the wreckage of his own making. I think about Nora sometimes, about the woman who had been broken and had rebuilt herself, and I think about her father, who survived the surgery and went on to live a full, happy life. I think about the heirloom jewelry she sold, the sacrifice she made, the strength she found. She is an inspiration. She is a force of nature. She is, without a doubt, one of the strongest women I have ever met. And her story is just beginning.